In today's video, we are going to help you figure out what the heck do women mean when they say, I want more intimacy. What is it that they consider intimacy? I'm sure it's been puzzling at times, and we hopefully demystifying this process for you today. I am Celine Remy, the intimacy angel.
And I'm Kevin Anthony, the truth warrior. And if you've ever been completely stumped by what in the world does she mean when she says she wants more intimacy, then make sure that you like, share, and subscribe.
There is not one formula that works for everybody. And we have today 7 different areas and things that most women will consider to be intimate. Now, again, it's all about the communication that you have with your partner and understanding what she likes. But these are good starting points to help you with creating more intimacy in your relationship. So tip number one thing that she will find really intimate is to let the other person see you in your vulnerable state, in a place when you're unguarded and being vulnerable together and sharing.
Yeah. So one, she wants to be able to be in her vulnerable state and be seen, but she also wants to be able to see you in your vulnerable state. Now, that's a bit of a tricky line for men. There's a lot of pressure from society today for men to be super vulnerable and to start gushing out all of their problems and things. Don't do that. It simply means that you can let your guard down and you can be real, be yourself around her. Like, be really genuine. It doesn't mean that you're going to cry about all your problems in front of her.
And it also doesn't mean that you're just making silly jokes because you're so uncomfortable with what is happening. So it's one way to diffuse some of the energy, because you don't know how to be in that position where you're like, oh, I'm shedding a tear, or I'm touched in my heart. So it's kind of finding that happy balance.
All right. Number 2, be able to tell you anything, literally anything. To me, this is a huge part of any relationship. If you're going to be in a committed relationship, you have to be able to tell the other person anything, like literally anything. And the other person has to be able to listen to anything without getting triggered, without responding in a negative way, without putting judgment on the other person. So if you really want to cultivate intimacy in your relationship, you really need to create that atmosphere where you can literally share anything.
And that means all the weird, crazy shit going on in her head, her not being logical, because, we don't always make sense. And it's nice to know that we can just let loose and just be our crazy self for a minute, and that you're okay with that. Number 3, she wants to be touched all over her body, anywhere on her body, but in a non-sexual way. Ooh, that might be a tough one.
Yes, it is. What it means is touching her because you like to touch her, and that it doesn't have to lead to sex. And that's the big part that a lot of men get wrong when it comes to touch. They only touch when they want to have sex. And so when they touch her, she goes, oh, great, now he wants to have sex again. If you really want to cultivate intimacy again, you have to be able to touch her just because she's beautiful and you love her and you just want to touch her. Maybe you want to rub her shoulders. Maybe you just want to stroke her gently. Maybe you just want to touch her hair. Like, whatever it is, do those types of things in a way that doesn't have to lead anywhere or mean sex.
Number 4, intimacy is about cuddling together and sharing sweet nothings. It's not always doing tons of things, but just that place where you can just rest in this little nest and feel each other's bodies and melt together. And then, whether you have your own language, whether you have your own, just talk about the silly things, the sweet nothings. You don't have to talk about the triggering things in your relationship, politics, or anything going on in the world. It's just about creating that connection.
Yes. And the next one is interesting, because it's a little bit more of a new phenomenon in a sense. So it's staring into each other's eyes. And why I say that's interesting is because we are so disconnected in today's society. Did you notice that you almost never look anybody directly in the eye? And when you look at the younger generations, they're always down like this, no matter what color, or they're over here. They never look directly into your eyes. This is a great way to establish intimacy. It doesn't mean you have to do some sort of weird, awkward, like stare. It's not some strange, esoteric, tantric, eye-gazing practice, although it could be.
It doesn't have to be. It's about creating the closeness, feeling genuinely connected with somebody. And there's that place too where they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, where you can see and connect with somebody beyond the words. Because we often, we put clothes on, we use our words, we have all of these things that just kind of protect us. And when you just look into somebody's eyes, you have to drop the masks and to see and be seen just as you are.
Which is why so many people have a problem looking into each other's eyes, because they're afraid of that intimacy.
Let's talk about our tip number 6, which is about sharing a music playlist together or a comedy. This is something that we did. There's something really fun. And I know in this digital world, we don't really do many things like that anymore. Remember the time when we had CDs or tapes and we made a tape for each other? But
now you're making us old for all the young people that are watching. But we did do this recently where we just put on a recording of an old comedy album and we just sat there and cuddled on the couch and listened to it. And it's amazing because there's so much less distraction and you get to involve your imagination a bit more. And so rather than just sitting there staring at a screen, the two of us, we were holding each other and looking at each other and laughing and like seeing, oh, which line did she find funny and which one did he find funny? And it was a really great way to just have an intimate moment and still do something, that made us laugh. And we weren't just sitting there, we were actively engaged in something.
The part that I love too about this practice is that the person actively created a playlist and then you share a part of who you are with your partner, where you're like, okay, these songs made me think of you, or this show, I thought we would really love it together, So there's something about when you go that extra mile and there's a reason why you compiled this together, that music or whatever it is, because it makes you think of the other person. That takes it to intimacy level 100.
And if you think that's a little bit difficult to do, imagine having to do it with a cassette tape like we used to do. You're going to make somebody a mixtape. Yeah, I know it's making us sound old, but it's like you got 2 tapes and it's like, all right, hurry up, play this, press record. Oh, yeah. Oh, I almost got, now I cut off the end of it. Damn, I got to redo it. You got it way easier now.
And last but not least, our tip on creating intimacy, what women consider intimacy, is her ability to feel safe emotionally, mentally, and physically when she's around you. And this is a really tricky one because you can't fake it. The thing is, you have to show up as a masculine confidence man where when she's near you, she can let go, relax, and know that she trusts you and can get into that place of, I'm protected, I'm safe. And the more she can relax, the more she can open her heart. And when she opens her heart, she feels this intimacy, this love. And guess where it goes once the heart opens up? Yeah. Down there, so the energy flows, and guess what happens afterwards? Don't get us censored. That's it. I think you've got the clear picture. So if you follow these tips, these will help you to create more intimacy. That's from a woman's perspective, what we tend to think and like as intimacy. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. There is so much more that could be added. Hey, have a chat, watch this video with your partner and ask her, what do you like? Is any of these things working for you? Is there something else that would work? And then don't just know about these, but do them, because intimacy is like oxygen for us women, and you want to create that in your relationship. You want to have that if you want to have a thriving relationship.
It's also lubrication.
It is all of it. So we hope today's video was helpful and inspiring. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.